everyone, welcome to Kelly's Creative Dream Studios. I am Kelly and I am a demonstrator with Stampin' Up in South Central Missouri. And if you've been to my channel before, thanks for coming back. Always glad to see familiar faces. But just as much, I love to meet new people. So thanks if you've never been to my channel before, thanks for stopping in. I hope you'll take a minute to like this video and click the subscribe button so you'll be back again. Today we are making this card. And now this can be a card, or you could turn this into something else, some kind of another embellishment, and use this as a flip tuck in a junk journal as well. Easy peasy. And I'm gathering colors here. Mango Melody, Pear Pizzazz are the two we're going to use. And Soft Succulent. Those are the three colors we're going to use. We're also going to be using our Evening Evergreen plaid ribbon, the Designer Series paper from Flowering Fields, and we're using a Mango Melody base. And if you're not familiar, take a, let me do one here that I don't have a color in. I don't have many of these. Start with an 8.5 by 11 piece of cardstock. Turn it sideways. And cut at the 5.5 mark, because this is 8.5 by 11. You want to cut it on the 11-inch side at 5.5. Get your cutting blade out of the way. Then turn it to where it's landscape again, and go to the 4.25 mark, and that's where you're going to score. Okay, and that's going to give you, boy, that did not score. I cannot even see it. There we go. Well, that's why it wasn't in the track. There we go. There are days. I'm going to shut this window. It is a beautiful 85 degrees in the Ozarks today, but it is quite windy. So we'll shut that. And then when you've scored that, then you can just fold it. Use your bone folder, pair of scissors, something sharp, and crease that, and you have your card. Okay, so we're going to use Mango Melody card base, and because our card front is 4.25 by 5.5, we need to cut this mat, I just lost it, 5.25 by 4. Just my brain dead. So let's see what I have for scraps over here. I don't think I have scrap big enough for that mat. We'll see. Maybe I do. Maybe I do. Let's see. It needs to be, yeah, this is square. It's not going to make the 5.25. So we're going to have to cut a new piece. That's okay. It happens. So I have this 6 by 6 that I can cut down to 5.25. Now this is where you want to pay attention. Pattern. I almost messed it up. I want to make sure that it's going this way. So this one needs to be cut at 4 inches this way, because this is the width of my card front. And then by the 5.25, because that is going to give me that. Okay, so we've got that part. I should have started out by saying this pattern came from Split Coast 06 card template. And so now we need to cut this piece here. And this triangle is cut from a piece of the pattern paper. And we're cutting it 3.25 by 4.25. I'm looking in my scraps to see if I have. That one's it. So we need to cut this 3.25 by 4.25. And it doesn't matter. Yeah, I guess maybe it will. Let me grab my ruler and make sure I go the right direction on this. This one needs to be our 3.25. Yep. So we need to go 3.25 wide with the pattern going this way. Turn this way and go 4.25. Just like that. Excuse me. Wind must have blew something in the window. Okay, and see, it's going to go here, but we need to cut it at the diagonal. So we're going to line this point and this point up in our track on our cutter. And I'll show you a trick here. If I try to just bring this cutting blade down, chances are I'm going to burr this corner. So I want to come down here in the center, in the middle of the card somewhere, and go out to one corner and come back to the other. That way you don't get that burr, okay? That one came out just a little bit narrower, but that's okay. It'll still work. Okay, now we need to cut the tag. And I have a tag piece here. The tag is cut 3 inches by 4 inches. So that's pretty big. So let's cut the 4-inch length first. Cut that off. And then come back and cut this to 3 inches. And again, this might be something where you're going to want to pay attention to your pattern. You want your narrower piece, your narrower width, being with your pattern going up and down the correct way. You just kind of have to envision where your pattern's at, okay? This side, it doesn't matter. We're not going to see, well, we are going to see this. Maybe I should have paid attention to that too. I forgot there was pattern on the other side. Let's try that one again. This one might work. Needs to be, what did I say, 3 1/4 by 4 1/4? No, tag is 3 inches by 4 inches. So there's that one, and there's that one. That one's fine. That one's going to work. Tulips are going to go the right direction. Now, a tip. Use something you can erase, and you're going to, because this is 3 inches, you want to find where your center is, which is going to be 1.5 inches, which is going to be at the 1.5 inch mark. Okay, and make a little tick mark, and then you're going to come at 1/2 inch on either side. So we'll mark over here at the 2, and we'll mark over here at the 1. Okay, and then we can come back and we can erase that center one. And yes, I love my erasable pens. And then it's as easy as that. Gives you your mark for where you want to cut and how far down you want to go. So I just went like this, and this came off like this, so I'm going to flip this over, and I always get this wrong. There we go. And line it back up over here. So see, it was like this. Flip it over and lay it the other direction. It's little. Now, we could use our tag punches, except this is a much wider tag than our tag punch will allow. And then we just use that as our measure and clip that off, okay? Then you're going to need about 3 inches of the plaid ribbon. And I have this measuring here on my craft paper, my grab paper, so I'll do that. Grid paper. Try not to lose that pin in the floor for me to step on later. And then I'm going to clip these off, and you should have a pair of snips just for fabric and ribbon. You'll get a cleaner cut. Don't try to use your paper scissors. And if you'll notice, I did that on the same corners because I'm going to flip this. And then I'm going to take a stapler. Now you could use a glue dot. I prefer stapling. Okay. And if you're concerned about the staple on this side, there's a couple of things you can do. Number one, use your bone folder and really mash it in good. It's not going anywhere. Or you could cut out one of the tulips from here, maybe the tulip bulb, and plant it on the back, and that would work. But there's that. The only two things we have left to do are the belly band and the sentiment. So let's take the belly band is cut from solid green. Get some of my other things out of my way so I can maneuver here. That is cut from the solid green. I know there's solid green in here. Something a little less That would work, but it's a little too blue. What it was part of this, but it was in that greener vein. So let's flip everything over and see if we've got something a little closer to that green. See, this was in that green part there. And I don't have another piece of this paper, I don't believe. So I did get an order placed. There we go. There's the other one from what I cut the other day. That one will work. If it's a little bit small for this piece, I'm not going to be concerned, but your belly band needs to be 1 inch by 4 inches. And it is 1 inch by 4 inch. And then we're going to stamp I'm going to use, instead of getting out my big block case, I'm going to use this. And I'm going to stamp first. And we are using let's see, the thank you. You are so thoughtful. Thank you. And we're going to use that. And we're going to stamp it in soft suede. Huff on a little bit, kind of reactivate your ink. Now, if you're not using our grid paper, remember when you're doing polymer, you want to use something like a mouse pad to give you that little extra incentive there. And we're going to stamp that down, straight up, that easy. And that one come out kind of, oh, you know what I did? I did not stamp that on white, and that's why it came out so pretty. Let's go back to a piece of this. This is what I used. This is what I used. So let's stamp that again. And we stamped it on a piece that was pretty white. And quite a bit of white in that cloud area. This one. Let's stamp it on this one. So we get some other colors. Kind of gives it a distress look without having to distress. Okay, and we're going to stamp it right here. Give it a good push down, straight up. Little on the light side. It looks like I might need to re-ink my So Saffron. And then I used, from our layering circles, I used this one. It is our third largest, or third smallest on there. I'll do that. Let me create room here to lay my stamper. Like that. Oh. Well, this warm is not supposed to last. We're supposed to get storms in here now this week, so somewhere in here I have another cutting blade, cutting mat. There's one. There's one. There it is. It was here somewhere. Okay, so my white plate, my number 2. I'm going to line this up over top of that. Now, I could have cut the circle and then stamped it. I could have done that. But I'm going to try it this way. Line that die up on there. Put my second cutting mat on there. And then crank it through. Just like that. Fold this up out of the way. Try not to pinch my fingers. So I'm cooking a prime rib today. Haven't done one of those in a long time. And I found a recipe that sounded like it would work, so we're checking it out. You put your prime rib, coat it with your butter, seasoning stuff, put it in the oven at 500 degrees at 5 minutes per pound. And then you shut your oven off and you do not open your oven. That's the key. You do not open your oven. You wait until it's done and you let it rest for 2 hours. So we're seeing how that's going to go today. It smelled good. I'm going to use my Tombow Mono Liquid and just give me a swirl here along the edge of my mat. a little bit in the middle. Make sure your hinge to your card is opening the right direction. I've done that before. You know, not that you haven't seen me make any mistakes on this channel. Right? Now, this is the key, and I'm telling you this because I did it. You want to make sure that you only apply your glue to your outside edges. Leave this open because that's where your tag has to go. Anybody want to ask how I know? And then we're going to give that a minute to rest. Same thing with this. We're just going to give it a swirl on either end because your tag's going to zoom past it, so you want to make sure that it's got room to do that. Go there. Just with that glue, you've got a minute to squish it into place. Make sure you're going the right direction. And I'm not going to put that in just yet, but I am going to come back with dimensionals. And we're going to put dimensionals on the back of this one. But you want to make sure, don't do like I did just now. Determine where it's going to go on here and put it, follow the line of your sentiment for the thank you, and that's where you want to put your dots. Okay? Again, don't ask how I know, how I figured that out. Okay, and then that's going to go right there, and that's going to go right in there. Now there would be room to put something else on here and write a message, or you could put it like this. And then when they pull it out, there's a message on the other side, in which case you probably definitely do want to make sure you put something over that. Now let's do our liner. I'm getting so much better at making sure I stamp the insides of my cards. And we're going to gussy this one up here in a minute. But let's get our sentiment inside first. And I guess I am going to need that. Well, maybe not. Let's use our chamois. This thing looks disgusting, but it's been washed and it's not going to affect your stamps any. It's still going to clean them off. Beauty of the chamois. Okay. And let's put this one back where it belongs so we don't lose it. And it looks like I used this one and this one and the stem and a leaf. Okay. And what I did was I built them up on the block. Built them up on the block, so there's our stem. Okay, and there's our, I want to come this way just a little bit. And with the polymers, you can bend them. You can shape them around where you need them to be. Just like that. And then we're going to come in here with a leaf. Scoot him right in there close. Do our leaf in the pear pizzazz. And then come back with our mango melody. And do the tulips. And it doesn't matter how you position it in there, just as long as you get some kind of a design on the inside of your card. Just like that. That one almost could have been scooched over a little bit more. But we're good with that. Man, I cannot believe how warm it has gotten in this office today. And I don't run my fan when I'm filming, or at least I try not to, because it can be a little bit on the noisy side. Okay, and I just run the glue around the edge. You can also use our Stampin' Seal. And then this leaves you room to journal or to stamp another message on the inside. And that is our card for today. I'm going to try not to lay this in that glue. Just like that. I may have even used Evening Evergreen on this and not the Soft Succulent. That may have been the difference. So, that is our Make It Mail It Monday card for this week. I will be back tomorrow to show you brand new product that I had the privilege of ordering early from our brand new catalog that goes live May 2nd. So you're going to want to come back for that. In the meantime, remember to like, share, subscribe, and as always, creative blessings.